Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about. It's actually a bit of a web of issues here. We're talking about affirmative action, diversity, equity, inclusion, hiring and promoting. In this case, black chicks who've got an IQ of about 80, 85, giving them prestigious sounding jobs on pretty decent money as well. And these are people who are given free passes to everything. They're being told they're victims, they're oppressed, evil white people everywhere. And so the sense of entitlement these people have is off the charts, way off the charts. So, and then we're looking at a two-tier justice system as well. And we're looking at a situation where only white people can be racist because they have this undefined social power. Now, this is all right if it's confined to the gender studies lesbian classroom, but it's now permeated and become very much entrenched in the legal system, the judiciary, the public service, the education system, and so on. So there's many factors at play here that we need to consider. Only a strict return to merit is going to actually, bleed this out of the system. Anything else, any allowance made for this or that, is going to allow this madness to continue in some form or another. So let me get to it. Then there's a 23-year-old black chick. She assaults two brown people, and as in punching them and slapping them. So clear assault, and then uses racial slurs and uses profane language. A complaint is made. The young woman gets arrested. The court case is delayed by nearly a year. I don't know why. If that was a white person, they'd be dragged into court in seconds flat. But there's a year. In the meantime, the black chick's denying it, even though it's well witnessed and recorded and all this sort of stuff. She tries to deny it on the basis, well, I didn't really mean it, or tries the defense, well, I'm black, I can't be a racist. They made me do it, not my fault, and so on. Very childlike. Anyway, all her legal fees somehow were getting paid. I don't know who by. Some NGO apparently was paying for it all. And it gets to court on the courtroom steps. She then backflips and says that she's guilty. And I'm assuming there was a sweetheart deal done here. If you confess to the guilt, then we'll only give you community service. I'm pretty convinced the backroom deal was done there. Whereas if that was a white person, look, we'll give you 10 years in prison, but if you cough to the guilt, we'll only give you 3 years or 2 years. There you go. So anyway, all she gets is community service. Now she gets I think it was I'm going from memory here, but she gets I think an hour. She has to turn up for community service 1 hour a week for a year. I think that was the deal. She pays something in the order of, in terms of court costs and stuff like that. She pays about $800, give or take, and that's it. She walks straight out the. Now it turns out she also has a history of violence, beating people up. So why she would get off so lightly is a testament to just how corrupt, I believe, how corrupt the judicial process has become, particularly where you consider race, gender, and whether they're lesbian or this or that. So let's have a look at this woman, though, because I think she typifies what's destroying the West right now. The rich rewards that are available in the West don't exist in places like Africa and elsewhere. Only the rich countries have the rich rewards that they can dish out to people on the basis of some sort of concocted insane victimhood. So, if she was in Africa, there'd be people at the very apex of the ruling tribes, a handful of people would get the rich rewards, but no one else gets it. So by being in the West, she's got access to rewards that in Africa they just couldn't even dream of. Anyway, coming to now, I mean, she's been interviewed, and I had a look at the some of the footage on on YouTube, and I would guess that her IQ was somewhere between 80 and 85. If I was being, generous on a good day, maybe 90. But this is a dim-witted, thick-witted individual. Now, typically, people like that would, they wouldn't even make it to year 10. They wouldn't even make it to sort of a junior high school diploma or something like that. They're just too stupid, and they're difficult. They're hopeless to control in the class. They're not good students, and so on. And this woman or young girl, she would have been there, certainly fits the bill. She's stupid, lazy, and super entitled. So, but she gets, because of affirmative action and diversity, equity, all that sort of stuff, she gets waved through from junior high school into senior high school. Now, she can't cut it there. She's, the only class that she can do with is some sort of leftist bullshit social studies, where they rave about the evils of white people, and that's an emotional participation class rather than a knowledge-based class. So anyway, she then gets gifted a high. Now remember, she's been gifted a junior high school diploma. She's been gifted a senior high school diploma. Then she gets gifted entrance to a university that she couldn't. I mean, she hasn't got a snowball chance of getting into university on any form of merit. So she's being gifted. So it's another affirmative action step here. Went out to 3 affirmative action steps. Then she gets a degree. Now all these are all bullshit degrees. A study in communications, a study in social equity, a study in international social equity. They're all bullshit degrees. But not only does she get a degree, she actually gets three masters. So she's in university for 6 years. Now, I don't know who's paying for all this, because apparently she's got no student debt. So someone's paying for all this. I would guess, given the universities involved, there'd be, it's not a top tier university, but even so, given the time she's been there, you'd be pushing $200,000. But somehow she's got no debt from certainly what I can glean. Now she gets hired straight out of college. So obviously the NGO network and the politically correct woke network is looking after this chick. She's been earmarked for something. So while she's at university, she's charged with violent behaviour. But again, little slap on the wrist. That's the end of it. Off she goes. So she comes out of university age of 23, I think it was, and she's hired straight into one of the most prestigious diversity, equity, inclusion jobs in the whole country. She walks straight into it. This is a woman who's never done a day's work in her life. Has only affirmative action certificates everywhere. Hasn't earned anything on the slightest bit of merit, and she's borderline mentally retarded. She gets hired into. She's now the executive director of diversity, equity, inclusion, and at 23, by the way, and is hired straight into. Could you? Seriously. If this job pays quite well, by the way. So if you put the you advertise the job, you'd be killed in the rush of all the people that would be happy to take it. So here's this unqualified person with no experience, only affirmative action certificates, walks straight into a very prestigious job, which he assumes she's entitled to, by the way. Walks into a very prestigious, well-paid job for a large sporting organisation. Now, already you'd be shaking your head in disbelief, saying, "No, this can't be happening. No, seriously, no." But it is, and it's not just. She's an example of it, but I would argue it's particularly widespread. Maybe not black chicks. It could be lesbians. It could be brown. But it's anything other than straight white males. Anything other than Christians and so on are being gifted these roles without any meritorious interviewing, or hiring, or anything at all. So she gets gifted this job, and then gets in trouble, using racial slurs, slapping and punching brown people, which she keeps secret from her employer. Doesn't mention it. And when it does come out in the media, somebody spots it, and she gets fired. But best I can tell, 5 minutes after she's fired, she gets hired straight into an NGO. Again, quite a prestigious role on pretty decent money, well above the average wage from what I can glean. So here's someone who's paying no penalties. So they can behave as diabolically as anything, but they're being protected by a system that wants to reward this sort of behavior, wants to reward these sort of people, not because they deserve any reward or they should get it or they contribute or build anything. It's just purely, I think, to spite and humiliate white people. I can't see another purpose in it. If this girl had earned her degrees, she worked hard, was a great student, and this sort of thing, and had years of experience in the sector, I don't mind. I mean, fine, the job's yours if you're the best candidate. But it's not that way. It's the complete opposite. She wouldn't have passed any exam or achieved any certification or diploma or degree at any time. She wouldn't have made it out of junior high school. But here's this person who's got, in terms of certificates, she's one of the most highly educated people around, but she's not. She hasn't learned any of it. And again, being gifted a job straight out of some bullshit university. This is a wider problem we need to deal with. I can't see the end of it. Only merit, only strictly applied merit will put an end to this. And it can't happen soon enough for me. You've been with Tassos today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.